Hey guys, Akil here. Welcome back to the Trading Coach Podcast. Today we're going to answer the question of, will all strategies eventually fail? Yes? No? And if so, what can you do to ensure that yours doesn't? By the way, if you haven't done so already, make sure you head over to our website, www.tier1trading.com, the best in trading education. That's www.tier1trading.com. Start your 14-day risk-free trial membership right now. Zach says, good morning, Akil. We recently spoke about how markets will always move in the same way, but no single strategy will work forever. Well, I wouldn't say, we shouldn't put it, no single strategy will work forever. Strategy can certainly work forever. No single strategy will work. We can't expect the strategy to work exactly the same forever. So just to clear that up, I don't want to say your strategy will fail. That's not true at all. Strategies can work forever, but they may not work in the exact same way forever, meaning that they may be outstanding in high volatility markets, and then they may still work, but they may slump a little bit in low volatility markets, something like that, or consolidated market, directional markets. You know, it's going to be different for each thing. I just want to clear it up before people start thinking like, oh my gosh, I got to change my strategy like I change my tires like every couple of years. I gotta change my strategy before it stops working. I don't want people thinking that. My strategy is a counter trend strategy, and since going live this past summer, I've had success. Yes, I have this feeling I've gotten over the hump, so to speak, but now I'm not so sure. So what makes you not sure now? What's caused you to go from confident to dripping confidence? Yeah, so what is causing you to, I guess, become fearful that this strategy may stop working or fail? Is it anything technical? Are you in a slump, or just like this is too good to be true? One of those type things? Is there a reason? I spoke to a group yesterday about fear, and we all heard the false evidence feeling, appearing real. But I had a conversation with a group yesterday, doing some mental training, talking about fear, and we had them jot down everything that they were fearful of, and then I made them revisit those papers that we use, and said, how much of this is actually real? Like, how much of this is actually a reality, or how much of this are you making it up? And about 80% of what they wrote on the paper was completely made up. And when they took kind of 5 minutes to think about it, they realized like, okay, well, yeah, I guess this isn't really happening. So sometimes we will psych ourselves out to being afraid when there's actually no reason to be afraid, right? Now, there's a difference between being prepared and being afraid, right? There's a difference between having a backup plan, right? I think it's always a good idea to have a backup plan, or have an idea, have an exit strategy. Like whenever, funny, Darren's the same way. Whenever I sit in a restaurant or any place public, two things, right? One, I never want my back to the action. Two, I always take mental note of the exits. Now, am I afraid of something happening where someone randomly comes up and, an aggravated trader who saw a YouTube video of mine, followed my idea and lost money? Are they going to come up and put me in a headlock? No, right? But I'm prepared just in case. So we have to be able to separate the two, about being prepared versus being scared. Zach says, just an idea. We've spoken about how no strategy will work in the same way forever. Obviously, I expect to always be adjusting and tweaking, but didn't know to what extent I have to adjust. Yeah. So I don't think there's any reason to believe that your strategy is going to fail. I don't think you need to be at a point where it's like, oh, it's done good for a couple weeks, a couple months, a couple years. It's going to start failing tomorrow. It's one of those things you noticed on the way. It's one of those things that as you continue to trade, you suffer periods of drawdowns, right? Your strategy won't fail if it's a solid strategy, if you've tested it correctly. It just may change a little bit. So again, you may see the market move a little bit differently, and your strategy may become more profitable. You may see the market move a little bit differently during the summer months or the winter, like right now when things kind of chop up. And you may have less frequency, which is going to equal less results. Or maybe you're not hitting target twos because the volatility isn't there to kind of push it to that second level. Those are the things that you need to continue to take notes on when you do your reviews. So if you're going through a period of time where you can tell the market has low volatility, where the market just isn't moving, like kind of like today, and you've noticed that, man, like for the last month, my strategies, I feel like I've been taking good trades, but like I haven't gotten a result. And you notice like, hey, my target twos aren't being hit. Well, now you know that, hey, well, in low volatility times, I may not be getting those secondary targets. So maybe I need to kind of switch up how I do my profit taking. Maybe instead of taking half off at target one and half off at target two, maybe I take everything off at target one. Or maybe I take 3/4 off at target one and a quarter off at target two. Something like that. That way I'm making sure I maximize the point in my trading that is supposed to give me the most profit. And you're not doing an overhaul to the strategy, right? The strategy isn't really changing. You're still looking for the same thing. You're still taking the same thing. You just made a slight adjustment with your profit taking, right? To adjust to the time. And then as the market picks up steam again and it goes back to kind of regular, quote unquote, regular movement, if there is such a thing, maybe now you go back to taking target twos again, right? So yeah, it's not two things. We don't want to assume our strategy is going to fail, right? Strategies can be profitable forever. But what we're saying is they may not be profitable in the same way. They will go through ups and downs. And our job, and don't get me wrong, some strategies may fail. Some strategies may fail. Now, if you've back tested correctly over a long enough period of time, you're probably going to see that in your back testing first, right? And that's the thing. Like if you've done back testing for a year, your strategy can easily fail because it could have just been a hot year. If you've done back testing over a 10-year period, right? And if your strategy hasn't failed in that 10-year period, it's probably good to go. It's probably good to go. With how market cycles work, if you haven't seen either two things will happen, right? Either it will just stop working. You'll have 1 year, you get lucky, you start back testing on the 1 year that worked, and it all goes downhill from there, and you're like, man, the strategy sucks. Or you may back test and you may go through a certain period where it slumps, but then it comes back to life. And then you have information on, hey, well, you got to make a decision. Do I want to trade this? Can I absorb the slump and whatnot? But then you have information on maybe why that strategy slumps. But yeah, don't assume that your strategy is going to fail. If you've done the correct back testing, it shouldn't fail. Will it change? Yeah. I mean, look at your back testing results. There are probably periods in your back testing where it struggled. And you can go back and kind of identify those periods and ask yourself the question, okay, what made these periods different from the periods where it flourished? And then when the live markets go back to those conditions, whatever you identify, now you can pay attention. And you can be like, okay, I got to keep an eye out for this, and I know I may have to make this type of adjustment. But yeah, you don't want to be fearful of it failing. Do I think you should add more strategies? Up to you, personal choice. I am always a fan of diversity. My goal is to have a smooth equity curve, right? So if I can have one thing that offsets another thing, I like it. Meaning that if I have a strategy, if I have one strategy that does well during one market condition, and if I have another strategy that does well when that first strategy is maybe slumping, that's my perfect scenario because then it keeps a nice, slow, steady equity curve. Does it get the massive returns? No, right? Because you're always going to have one kind of struggling and one kind of doing well, but it offers steadiness, and that's at this point in my trading career. That's what I'm looking for. So I always think it's good to have diversity for that reason. Also, more frequency is more opportunity. If you have an edge, more opportunity means more money, more profit. So that's always a positive thing as well. But ultimately, it has to be something that you want to do, right? I'm a trading nerd, so like I want to keep adding stuff because I'm obsessed to addicted to trading. If you're not, then you can easily just do one thing and just stay with that one thing. So a lot of it depends on the personal goals as well. Yeah. Good question. Good question. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Also, give me a follow on social media. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I am on Twitter at Akil Stokes RTM. Facebook as well. Give me a follow. Lots of content, inspirational, motivational. Lots of short, quick tip videos as well. That's Akil Stokes RTM. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. Just watch for the things.